This just in, CBS Sports HQ from college football, where Jim Harbaugh has agreed to a contract extension to stay at Michigan. Agreed to a 4-year deal a year ago, but with a significant pay cut. The school says his new deal runs for an additional year now through the 2026 season with adjusted terms. Harbaugh, of course, led the Wolverines to a Big Ten championship, a berth, and the college football playoff this fall on his way to National Coach of the Year honors. He did interview with the Vikings for their head coaching position before returning to Michigan. Let's welcome in Chip Patterson to talk about this. Jim Harbaugh getting an extension at Michigan. Chip, you and I were talking about, look, maybe this is going to kind of mend things a little bit between Harbaugh and Michigan.
Yeah, this is going to reestablish the relationship. This relationship has been through some rocky times. When Harbaugh arrived at Michigan, they made him one of the highest paid coaches in all of college football. When he was unable to beat Ohio State, unable to win a Big Ten championship, as many expected, he actually agreed to a pay cut prior to this last 2021 season. But then what does he do? He exceeds all those expectations. He delivers that Big Ten title. He beats Ohio State, makes it to the college football playoff. So clearly his value to Michigan is somewhere between that salary that put him among the highest paid coaches in all of college football and whatever his adjustment was heading into last season. So I think that it's good for Michigan and Jim Harbaugh to come to terms on what's ahead, just because, as you mentioned, he was interviewing for the Minnesota Vikings job on National Signing Day. We've got a team that has a lot of turnover. I will say he had a top 10 class on signing day, so I do not fault the man. He wasn't going to be particularly busy on that day anyway. But for Jim Harbaugh, after him going to interview for the Vikings job, for the school cutting his salary the year before that, and then the success that they had in 2021, you kind of had to start fresh. And I will say this. Jim Harbaugh said in his press conference after the loss to Georgia that he was still optimistic. And he was optimistic because he said this is a new beginning for Michigan football. This contract, I think, is part of that new beginning.
Yeah, a new beginning for the school and him. I mean, how does he approach his team moving forward? I mean, can he reset and just totally put the NFL behind him? I mean, because he thought he was going to get that job, and put yourself in the mindset, I am a college coach now moving forward, and this is where I'm staying.
I actually trust Jim Harbaugh to be really good in compartmentalizing, probably better than I am, maybe better than a lot of us, just be able to shut things out, focus on the task ahead. But I think that Jim Harbaugh knows that right now are going to be the next couple years very pivotal to be able to deliver and build on what they did with that Big Ten championship. I mentioned they did have a top 10 signing class in this past recruiting cycle. Recruiting is going well, but you lost your defensive coordinator going back to the Ravens. You lost your offensive coordinator to Miami, and Josh Gattis did not have very nice things to say about Michigan and the football program on his way out the door. So now you've got some promotion, and you've got new hires, new co-offensive coordinators in place on offense. You figured things out on defense. It's just a time where among the staff and the organization, there's been a lot of upheaval here in the last 2 or 3 months. So Jim Harbaugh's job, especially now that he's got this contract locked down, is to forget about job status and get his house in order, because there's a lot of turnover and the expectations are not being lowered.
A lot of turnover. That's kind of what's going on, off the field. Let's talk about on the field next season for Michigan. We've been doing a lot of Ryan Wilson's mock drafts here. I can tell you there could be potentially 3 Michigan defensive players going in the first round of the draft, so they're taking a hit there. You have Cade McNamara, you have J.J. McCarthy, a potential quarterback battle going into next season. What are your expectations for Michigan moving forward?
From a personnel perspective, I'm very, very high on them offensively. I think that having 2 quarterbacks that both could be high-level Power 5 starters this fall, that's a very good problem to have, and makes that one of the more interesting competitions that we're going to have throughout all spring practice. I like their running back depth, wide receivers. Even after losing Ronnie Bell at the beginning of the season, they had so many other players step up. Some of those are going to be back as well. But you mentioned the defense, and that's where I think my number one concern is, because not just those 3 players, but Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, and Daxton Hill, the pass rushing of Ojabo and Hutchinson, and the way that Daxton Hill was just a do-it-all versatile nickelback, it allowed them to be so much more creative with the rest of the defense. And the rest of the defense, mostly upperclassmen too. So you're losing these very, very important NFL draft picks, and also the experience that you had with so many of those seniors and 5th years and graduate transfers. that there's just so much youth on the defensive side of the ball. That's the side that I am less optimistic on. If the offense looks like on paper they should be just as good as they were last year, but defensively they need some young guys to step up quick.
And if anything, you beat Ohio State. So you got that to live on until next football season. Chip Patterson, we appreciate you hopping on with us here for this just in about Jim Harbaugh signing an extension with Michigan. We appreciate it. Chip Patterson, by the way, host of the Cover 3 podcast, who will be breaking this down, everything you need to know about college football. Make sure to download and follow. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.